Hi, it's Dougal here from the BBC Business Unit. We are live on Facebook, on BBC News. We're at a place called Millbrook Proving Ground, about an hour north of London, near Luton. Okay, we should be back. We're at Millbrook Proving Ground, and we're going to see a car being flipped over, a test car. It's going to go up here, go on its side, and it's going to eventually land over here. The car at the moment is a long way back in that tunnel. I can't show you down that tunnel because it's top secret, some of the stuff in there. There's next generation cars. Broadcast got stopped a bit before, but we are about an hour north of London in Bedfordshire near Luton, which is where they have this testing ground. Huge track, 70 kilometres long, and they test lots of vehicles here, next generation vehicles. So I've got Matt here, who's one of the top engineers on this project. He's just going to quickly explain, please, Matt, how this device here will flip the car.
Okay, there's a cable that tows the car. That's a continuous loop, and that will tow the car from the bottom of the runway to the top end of the runway.
So you can see the cable there running all the way down. I can't show you the bottom of the shed, but you can sort of see, without me taking the camera too far, that it goes a long way back and the cable goes all the way to the bottom, pulling the car up.
It's about 200 metres long.
About 200 metres long. Then it gets here, and this presumably flips it up on one side.
That's right. The vehicle's guided by the rail in the middle of the runway. Okay, it's towed by the cable. The vehicle to the left-hand side of the vehicle is going to run up the ramp, and the ramp. If the speed is correct and the ramp profile are correct, then the vehicle will turn over.
Excellent. What we're going to do is, because it is due to happen quite soon, we're going to retire now to a safe distance so that we can actually watch this happen. So let's just go back here. While we're live, Matt will be able to answer any questions you have, so please put them in the comments. Here's another chap who's filming. So our position is just past him. There's also going to be a drone flying around to get some aerial footage. And inside the car, there are some GoPro cameras, which someone's put in as well. So we'll see that obviously afterwards. I can't get any closer than this for safety reasons. And obviously this is being filmed on the phone, but we have got an optical zoom lens on. So we'll try and let you see as much of the action as possible. There you can see what we were looking at before, which is the little ramp that's going to cause liftoff. It's probably going to be the next 5 minutes or so. I'll just quickly show you me and Matt again so you can see where we are. Matt, if you come back here. So we'll have to move down a bit. We're really cramped because we're behind the crash barrier and then there's a fence behind that. So there's really not very much space. We're just crouched back here just so you can see us. Matt is the expert, so any questions you've got, put them in the comments and we'll try and answer this. First, one question from me first of all, which is kind of relevant to what we're doing here. What kind of indication will we get that this is about to happen?
There'll be an announcement which we may or may not be able to hear from the distance we're away, and we will hear the noise of the drive cable running. So there'll be sort of a sort of a running, humming kind of noise as the drive cable goes round and drags the car up. As the car gets closer, we'll then hear the guidance mechanism that runs along the rail.
So there's no kind of human voice saying, a countdown or anything. It's the noise of the mechanism.
There's no countdown. We might hear an announcement before everything starts, but it will just be the noise of the machinery working.
What we're going to try and do is, like I said, I've got an optical zoom on the lens, so this is actually closer than your normal camera would give you, but I think I can pinch zoom a little bit. Yeah, so there you can see a bit better. But we'll keep it like this. And I'll try and swivel the camera around when the car actually moves, but the key thing we want you to see is the moment when it flips over. One other question I'll just start with: why do this kind of testing?
Really, the testing's done for two different reasons. One is occupant protection, so trying to make sure that in the event of a rollover incident, that the occupants on board the vehicle are suitably protected. The second reason for doing it, which is sort of very much linked to the first, is for sensor calibration. So most vehicle manufacturers now have countermeasures that are deployed in the event of a rollover. To enable you to deploy those countermeasures, you have to have a sensing mechanism that is calibrated, and to do to successfully work through the calibration, you need to do some testing and gather some data. So really, those are the two reasons for running the testing.
Gareth Edmondson wants to know if this is a brand new car that's going to be used in the test.
This is an older vehicle that we've sourced specifically to do this test. Today it is a demonstration of our capability. More than a test for a manufacturer. So it's a relatively old car at the moment.
That sort of answers the next question, which is Samuel Huang wants to know the make and model of this particular car, but it doesn't look... Is it a customised one?
If I'm honest, I'm not actually sure exactly what the car is. I think it's a relatively small three-door hatchback, but not entirely sure what it is.
Someone else just asked, where is the car? It was outside the shed as they got it ready. It's now gone about 200 metres backwards into the shed because it has to be pulled up by that cable that we saw that brings it out at speed. And if I just lift the camera for a second, you can see how far back that shed goes. You can't even see all the way, but it's about 200 metres back.
The car's about 200 metres away at the moment.
And I mentioned before, we can't... Just steady the camera again. We can't show you too much inside the shed because there's some top secret cars there and things which aren't for public view. So we're waiting patiently. While we wait, I'll just switch the camera again to give you a little introduction. Need to come round. We're just crouching down here in our safe position behind the barrier, and this is Matt here, who works at the facility, and he can answer any technical questions. We're BBC News. We're live on Facebook. We're watching a car that's going to be corkscrewed, which is a term they use. It means flipped over at speed. It's a way that they test cars. So I don't hear any signs yet of the rumbling of the cables, but I did see a thumbs up just there. Someone's asking when is it going to start, but we don't exactly know. It's due to be quite soon.
Soon, very soon.
In terms of this question of the make of the car, I guess in the future when you're doing specific tests for companies who want to improve the safety of their next generation vehicles, then the kind of car matters. But in this case, it's more testing the equipment, is that right?
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. This really is to sort of demonstrate and test the new rollover facility we have here. So the exact make and model isn't relevant. It was I think it was a car that was just made available to us. So that's great. I'm sure as soon as we'll see it, we'll be able to identify exactly what it is.
Richie Shah says, "Do it," but come on, it's not up to us. We have to wait. There's a lot of people involved in this. Someone else is asking, what real-life situations is this trying to emulate?
Well, it's trying to simulate a a rollover event. So there are all kinds of events that can happen out on the road where a vehicle rolls over, whether it's a vehicle to vehicle impact, whether it's a vehicle to street furniture impact, whether it's a vehicle to the environment around it sort of impact. So there is there might be banks, ditches. There are all kinds of environments that if you sort of leave the standard road infrastructure that you can end up turning a car over in. Doing the testing this way allows us to use a ramp that we've manufactured, so we know the exact detail of the ramp, we know the exact angles of the ramp, we know the height of the ramp at the end, we know the speed of the car. It means the testing can be repeatable. Building bespoke one-off test scenarios is something that we can do, but it's much harder to make them repeatable. So this is a very simple way of delivering a repeatable type rollover test.
One of the questions from Aidan O'Dell wants to know, how fast will it be travelling when it hits the ramp? Do you know?
Yes, it will be travelling at 35 miles an hour.
And I guess we should say that while it's exciting to watch this, the point is this is about safety. And I think one of the things we will see afterwards, when the cars come to a complete standstill and we can get a bit closer and have a look at it, is the terrible impact, even at 35 miles an hour, it has on the car. And that if you basically don't want this to happen to you when you're driving.
Yes, no crash while you're driving is a good thing to happen at all. It's clearly it's always ideal to avoid any kind of incident. The test is to try and demonstrate and prove out our equipment and facility more than to review the safety capability of the actual vehicle.
Can they improve small things when they're testing on actual cars, like the safety belts in the event of a rollover, that kind of thing?
There are all kinds. Yeah, manufacturers look at all kinds of things when running a rollover test. There are all kinds of small things that can be done that help contribute to safety in rollover. One of the significant issues is occupant ejection. And people being ejected from a vehicle when the vehicle rolls over. The sort of the best thing by far to do there is ensure that you wear a seatbelt. That's sort of something that helps retain the occupant in the vehicle. And manufacturers also look to deploy other countermeasures. As well, so things like curtain airbags are deployed to help cover up any window aperture to again try and stop an occupant being ejected.
Here's a technical question that you guys watching might be able to help us with. We can have the shot like this to capture the moment when it happens, Wi-Fi willing, or I can pinch in a bit and we can see it even closer, so you'll see better the actual kind of close-up of the moment it's beginning to roll. So if you want to say in the comments which one you'd prefer to see, this one, which is pinched in, or further out like that, let me know. Once the car has actually come out, I mean, I'm not going to be able to swivel the camera probably in time, certainly not smoothly, to get a nice shot of the car bursting forwards, but I will of course move it across when it's landed and come to a safe stop, and we'll go over the barrier and have a closer look. I see two so far saying wide view, zoom out. The preference seems to be, further out. Now I actually could change to a wide lens that would give a super wide view, but then I don't want to miss the moment when it happens, and it would involve unscrewing the current one. I think this is a happy medium here. I've got one person saying zoom. Someone's saying move it a bit right, but I think you kind of want to see it coming out the shed, really, don't you? Maybe a tiny bit. So we're still playing the waiting game. Any updates? Any visual signals you can get?
Nothing, unfortunately. I can't talk to the team, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on at the moment. There's obviously a small delay of some kind, but I'm sure they will be with us as soon as they possibly can.
It was due to happen a bit earlier, but the technical people are obviously sorting something out in that shed that we're not allowed to see into. And even if we went into the shed, it's about 200 metres back. So it would take a long time to get down there and back again. Someone asked, is it hard live ad-libbing? Yeah,
Yes.
It is. It's very hard.
Yes.
But sometimes you just have to let the pictures speak for themselves. So we'll go quiet and just let you think about what you're looking at, what's about to happen, hopefully. Well, there's a drone about to take off. That could be a good sign. Someone's saying the crash dummies are in makeup. That could be what's holding us up.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, they are. They're very fussy about what they're seen wearing.
It will be interesting actually to see the crash test dummies after the impact, once the car's rolled over. See what damage they go through. Another question I have is, are cars like this reusable once they've been used in a test?
Yeah, interesting question. Yes, sometimes, most of the time they are. Often we'll be asked to run a sort of a program of rollover tests, which may consist of, depending on what the customer wants from the testing, typically 3, 4, 5 or 6 rollover tests in a small batch. Clearly it's in the customer's interest to minimise the number of vehicles, because these are usually hugely expensive prototype vehicles, so minimising the number of vehicles they use is very high on their agenda. Reusing vehicles, very, very important. Typically after a test like this particular one, it may just be possible with some repair work to use the vehicle again.
Someone just requested that while we wait, they have a little look around where we are. So we're at a place, if you just joined us, we're at a place called Millbrook Proving Ground. It's in Bedfordshire, near Luton, about an hour north of London by train. It's a place where car manufacturers bring their vehicles for testing prototypes. There's a huge track, about 70 kilometres of track, where you'll see cars whizzing around, prototype models, usually taped up in black so you can't see the distinguishing features. And there's all kinds of bends and extreme hills and things like that to test the vehicles. And we're here today to see a car which is going to be rolled over at speed, also known as corkscrewing, with a new piece of kit they have here to do that. While we're waiting, I'll just introduce ourselves again briefly so you can see us. If you want to come back here, Matt, so I'm going to flip the camera around. It's me here, Dougal from the BBC Business Unit, and I've got...
I'm Matt Hillam from Millbrook. I'm Chief Engineer Safety at Millbrook.
He's the man who can answer all the technical questions. We're squatting down here behind the barrier. We've got to be at a safe distance, obviously, because we're on the side that the car will roll over onto. And we can take some questions while we wait. We were expecting it to have happened by now, but they're still sorting things. And as Matt was saying, probably the first sign we'll get that something is about to happen is that the cords will start to make a noise, and that's the cords which will pull the car along, because obviously it's dummies in there, they're not driving it themselves. It's this kind of cord winch system that drags it along 200 metres up the big shed. Well, this often happens with technology events. You never quite know when it's going to happen. You have to get it just right. The safety has to be there. And who knows what they're sorting out at the moment in that shed. Oh, there's a few more good questions we can go through in the meantime. Joe Gilman is asking if the drone footage will be used for analysis, or is that just nice pictures to have as a memento of the event?
The drone footage is something new. It's something we're experimenting with at the moment. It may well be that it could be used for analysis. And until I see the footage and we can review it, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure whether it will be used for analysis or not. But it will hopefully give us a good overall view of what's going on.
Just to say, guys, I'm sorry it's taken so long. Obviously, it's not in our control. It was due to happen at about 1 o'clock, so it's gone well beyond that. If we get any updates on when it's going to happen, we'll let you know straight away. In the meantime, I'll go through a few more of the questions. Rick is saying he's a bit concerned that the people at the back are going to be squashed. Will they move? Everyone, there's a safety officer here. We've all been put in safe positions. So don't worry about anything about that. It's all very strictly controlled.
Yep. Everyone's in a safe place at the moment. So no, there shouldn't be any danger to anybody at all.
Thanks for thinking of us, though. That's very kind. Appreciate that. If you're just joining us, a big question people are asking is what make of car is it? But it's not a particular make. It's a kind of special test vehicle. It's got crash test dummies in it. You'll see it when it comes out. Actually, when we started the live, the vehicle had been in front of the shed for about 20 minutes, certainly while I was here, so I could see it. But when we started the live, it had retreated into the shed, ready to come out.
So I think the guys are just arming the cameras now.
Looks like we're seeing some signs that it's about to begin. Sorry I see all the angry faces. I'm sorry, we didn't mean to frustrate you. We just have to wait till it actually happens. And there are signs it's about to happen. Once it does come out, obviously we want to watch the moment it comes out. I'll swivel the camera around and we'll just see the impact once the cars come to a stop. And then maybe we'll move a bit closer and we'll have a look. Okay, we're seeing signs it's going to happen soon. Yeah, I hear a noise. Okay, watch. That's the drone taking off. The drone's going to get the footage. I've seen a few thumbs up. The next thing we'll probably hear is the sound of the cables dragging the car along. I'm going to keep the camera in this position, but then swiftly move it right as soon as the car launches. By the way, the car is meant to roll over. That's not guaranteed. That's the aspiration. Yeah, I've seen a thumbs up. Okay, get ready, guys.
The announcement's gone, so hopefully the drive system will start going.
It's coming, guys, it's coming.
Okay, so drive system's going.
Drive system's on.
Coming towards us.
Vehicles coming up the tunnel, up the shed. Get ready, get ready. I can hear the noises getting louder. Over so quick. Actually, that was to see it like that, going at 35 miles an hour. I didn't think it would skid that far. It's a violent impact. even at that speed. And you can imagine many cars just on a highway, not on a highway, just on a road in a built-up area are going at 35. It shouldn't be, but 30 miles an hour. So you can see it there. Once I've got the all clear that it's come to a full stop and it's safe, we can go a bit closer and just see firsthand what kind of impact it's had. I think we're okay. Are we okay to go over?
Let's just wait. I think
Yeah.
maybe one of the technicians needs to go and...
We're just waiting to get an all clear. Let me pinch in. Okay, it's a bit shaky. That's just a digital zoom, but you can see how the car has come to an end. Someone wanted an explosion. Well, you don't always get that. Mark says that we owe him 5 minutes, but actually we're alive for a lot longer than that. You're lucky, Mark, that you only came 5 minutes ago. We're probably waiting for about 20 minutes. If some people have just joined us now, once the live is finished, it will become a video that you can simply watch. So you can go back, you can skip some of the build-up if you want, because it did overrun a bit. We had to wait probably 20 minutes for the thing actually to happen. But we did answer a lot of the questions that some of you are now answering. It's a kind of custom car. It's not a specific one. This is just a kind of general customized test car. They're not testing a specific vehicle for a manufacturer today, but that is the point of this equipment. Matthew Hastelow says that's lovely. Can we go home now? Yeah, you can. And if you're watching this at home on Facebook, then just stay at home.
Yeah, the guy's checking now. Just make sure.
Got one good question here. Sorry, Matt. Do you know what the angle is that will flip over a car like that?
That's something that is quite a challenge to calculate. The ramp we're using is it's a two-stage ramp. It's 1.1 meters high at the end. I'd have to go and check the angle to be completely certain. But it's a combination of the angle of the ramp and the approach speed of the vehicle. So a combination of those two things tends to give us a good idea as to whether or not the vehicle will turn over or not.
Another good question, does this test car have an engine? Because it's pulled along by cables, not by the engine.
As far as I'm aware, yes, I think this test car does have an engine. I think it's just an old car that was made available to us. So I think it's pretty much complete.
You can see a trail of glass. I'll just follow it from the beginning. So over there you see where it rolled, it came out the shed, up the ramp on one side, and then there's a trail of glass that came to a rest there. We've got the all clear now to go and have a look at it, so we'll just have a look at the car close up, and then at that point we'll call it a day. You can still send your questions. Because I've got my camera on a tripod, I'll just try and tip it round to give you quite an angle of what it's like in there. Let's look inside. It's probably easier for you to see than me, because I'm crouching down. It's very sunny, I can't see the screen, but you can see the dummies there. Shattered glass. So you can imagine if that was real people, the kind of impact that would have on a human body. Okay, this has been quite a long live because we had to wait a bit for it actually to happen. Thanks very much for sticking with us. I'll just say a final goodbye. Flip the camera around. It's Matt here.
Hello.
Thanks very much for him.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Come back again another time. BBC News on Facebook Live.
Thank you very much.
Bye.